This is a drawing for a 5x3 booth.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically this is a installation guide on how to put a 5x3 booth together. I would start by marking out your designated area in the airport or wherever the kiosk is going to go. Either a 5x3 or a 2x3. Mark it out with some masking tape so you know, okay, cool, that's my area. Then I would start by laying my raised floor panels or quadrants onto that area. They just butt up together. There's no screw fixings that hold it together. The laminate floor will do that once you start laying the laminate floor. If I lift up one of these panels, you'll see there's, we call them mouse holes, where your cable routing would run. This stops the cables from getting pinched from the quadrant. So all cabling should run between the mouse holes. Then I would take all my loose items, or should I say the counters. I'd position them on the stand where they would best be suited, or just look at the drawings and they kind of give you a floor plan. Then I would find the tails that come out of the units. There should be 6 tails for a 5x3 stand. We've supplied a wire that you need to pick up power from underneath the floor. So this would be the supply for this whole unit, which powers the LEDs, as well as you've got a spare plug underneath here for shop assistance, cell phone or whatever. This power supply is for the LEDs. So what I would do is I'd mark underneath the cabinet exactly where you want power to come from underneath the floor. Happy? So we can have a look underneath as much as you can. Okay, so you'll see underneath this unit is a little hole. That's where this cable will go through, or your supply from underneath the floor will come in there and then out of this hole here, and then you can wire it up and then shove all the cables back in there. So anywhere, an example of this, anywhere under here is a good area for your supply to come out of the floor. Then you'll run your cable that's supplied. It's a 2.5mm. You'll run that cable. You'll make a loop and then push it back in the floor. Then it'll go to the next unit. And lift the cable back down. Then it'll come to this unit. Tilt it forward. And you'll see anywhere underneath this unit is a good place to bring your power from, because that's where you're going to connect it. And there's a nice big area underneath the plinth, so if you do make a mistake, you can slide it left or right, back or front. You know, you've got quite a bit of room for tolerance. Back out again to the rest of the other pieces.
Components.
Then I would take all the components off the stand, because your next step would be to do the laminate floor. So at the moment we've got our 15 quadrants with cables coming out of the floor, all ready for the units. But now we still have to do the edging of the stand. It's a black ABS edging and a bullnose edge, and also the laminate floor. So laminate floor comes in packets, which are all packed in these boxes. It's basic laminate floor, like anyone would lay up laminate floor.
Okay.
That gets, if it's exposed to air, you have to lay it on straight away, otherwise it starts to do funny things. So we'll pretend we've got the laminate floor now.
Yeah.
We're going to have to drill holes in the laminate floor where it meets the cable, so there's a hole in the laminate floor where the cable comes out.
Yeah.
So we'll pretend we've got this whole floor with laminates now. The edges of the laminate floor would probably be overhanging because that's how you do it. And then you take your skill saw and you trim the laminate floor on the edge nicely to give it a square finish. Edges. They all get these black screws that have been supplied. That's and some adhesive. So you would put adhesive at the back here like this, in this sort of zigzag manner. You glue it on there. You'd stick it on there, and then you'd put screws to hold these skirtings on. After that, you've got your laminate floor and you've got this skirting, then you have to put a little bullnose edging on, which is going to be glued on with adhesive, which are in the boxes. It's just a right angle edge profile. I can actually show you. It's like you have your laminate floor, which would be overhanging, would be cut back, so it'll look like that at the end of the day. And you've got this skirting, and you've got this bullnose that will glue over like that. Perfect. It all gets glued together. And then you'd obviously, the installer would use masking tape to hold it down until it sets. You don't want to have to put screws in here or pins because it's just going to damage the look of it. Yeah. And then, so I think we've got our floor done. Next step would be to place the furniture items or the counters. If you want to come this side. On the 5x3 and the 2x3, there are, on this particular counter, you've got 3 cables that power up the LEDs. Okay? Those cables have to be pushed into these 3 holes. And if we go to the other side, you'll notice that. So those 3 cables will be within this box now. Someone needs to take a fish wire or wire or hook or something and pull those 3 cables out of this hole and then connect them onto here. And with LEDs, it's polarity sensitive, which means your positive or negative must be correct in order for it to work. If you do get it the wrong way around, it won't blow them, it'll just mean they won't work. And then you shove all the cables back in there, and then it's safe. And then once you've got your cables in there and it's wired up, this obviously gets pushed up, hard up against this unit. Cables and everything should all line up. Then you will fix the 2 units together with a screw supplied by these connector blocks. Perfect. Should be 6 of them for the stand. Whoever's doing the installation, I would ask the clients where they want these positioned, because some people can be really fussy. Either you can use a cable organizer, so you'd have to drill a hole into the top of this unit for your cables to come through, or you can just drill a hole directly underneath these, mount them, there's screws supplied, stick all of these things on. There's no point doing it now because it's needs to be on site. So this is just a freestanding unit, a lockable cover. Then we've got our tower. Which you will also connect your wire underneath. This is the switch for the lighting. I think the first step is to put your plasma bracket somewhere in this area. You can measure it up depending on what plasma is supplied. Center is always nice, and then mount it as you would hang a normal plasma. On the inside of this, you'll see there's a plug, a power supply. You just plug it in, and it should work. With the glassware on this display case, you'll have 2 shelves, 2 doors, and a fixed panel. The 2 doors are always on the inside of the stand, where I'm standing now. Okay. On the outside will be a fixed panel, because that's for viewing purposes. You don't want thieves to tamper with your doors and stuff, obviously. Now with the fixed panel, what you'll do is you'll open up these hinges, which are actually going to be used as brackets. You slide your piece of glass in there, and then you close the panel with these other brackets or hinges on the panel. Close them in so the panel can't get removed, and then you fix these brackets with the screws supplied. The holes are all pre-drilled in the right positions. So then you've got a fixed panel that can't come out. Then you've got 2 shelves of mentioned, shelf hooks, which drop in there and drop in there. And then you've got your glass that sits on there with suction cups. These are little suction cups. Pretty easy. Then you've got your doors to sort out. You'll take a door, slide it in here, and tighten the little grub screws at the back here, or to hold them. You don't over tighten them, because you're going to probably crack the glass. Although it is tempered glass, you can tighten pretty much, quite a lot, but don't over tighten it, because there's no spare glass, you know. So that's the left door. On the right door, it's exactly the same. You put it in, tighten it, then close both doors, and then you're going to have to fit the lock. The lock is very simple. It sits on the corner, bottom left-hand corner of the right-hand pane. It drops. The panel sits on that side. Clamp it and close the doors. You might have to do some fine adjustments, getting the striker and the lock to line up. But all you do is you loosen the grub screws again and slightly left or right. You might have to do some adjustments on the hinge as well. Pick it up a bit, left, right, so nothing like knocks. But it all has been pre-assembled and been checked, so it all should work. 100%. There's a lid for the top of these units, which is this, with a hole in it for ventilation, and also so you can remove it. It's just in case you're in a double-story area that looks nice from the top as well. So that's putting half the 5x3 together. With the other half, it's exactly the same. It's just mirrored. Okay, so when it comes to fixing the tower to the floor, you're going to have your cable that's coming through the quadrant, through the laminate floor. Then it has to come through this piece of timber somewhere. So this is a base plate that sits underneath this black skirting. What it does is it gets screwed to this quadrant from the top with your cable coming through. I don't know where your cable is, so that's why there's no holes being drilled. You're going to fix it to the quadrant. Then you're going to take this unit and you're going to put it on top of this base plate. Then you're going to take the black screws and you're going to screw the plinth where my finger is over there, say like 5 screws on each side, into this piece of ply. That'll stop this tower falling over. It's just a safety measure, but I do suggest we use it, because if somebody leans on this, there's a chance it could fall over. Once all the components are fixed and electrics are all mounted and glass in, I think the final step to do is to remove all the protective plastic. Take some thinners or benzene, either one will be fine, and just wipe everything. You'll see there might be little bits of adhesive, and which is all part of the Formica process, but it comes off pretty easy with some thinners. You'll see there's glue, overspray glue, but there's no point taking it off now because you want to keep this protective film. And the majority of this stuff is dotted on, so it's just a matter of pulling it off, and it should be pretty clean. You'll find that with all the units have all got protective film.